Hey, my wonderful people, you're welcome back to the channel. This is Yuglo Fashion, and thank you so much for stopping by. In today's tutorial, I'll be sharing the making of this straight gown with side slits and inner pocket, and it has ready-made collar at the neckline. So please stay tuned and enjoy the tutorial. This is the fabric I used. First of all, I used this abaya robe. This is abaya robe and this ready-made collar. I have this as well. That's the interface and the Ankara print that I used. This is the measurement I also worked with. My client's bust is 11.5, under bust is 14 inches, the half length is 18, and our gown length, our full gown length is 56 inches. And I added 1 inch for M, so that makes it 57 inches. Then I measured 57 inches on my fabric and I folded it twice, so I have 2 folds here, 57 folded twice here. Next, I cut out the remaining at the M. Next is to fold this fabric into 4 because I'll be cutting both the front and the back bodies together. And to do that, I measured the hip circumference, which is 44 divided by 4, that's 11, and I added 2 inches to it, so I have 13 inches now. Then I cut the 13 inches out. You know it's 4 folds already. And the reason why I use the hip circumference is because it's the one that has the highest figure, 44. If it is the bust that has the highest figure, you have to use the bust to determine the folding. Next, I placed the tape at the starting point and I measured shoulder to nipple point, shoulder to under bust, shoulder to half length, and also shoulder to hip length. I used 24.5 inches for her. Then shoulder to gown length, and also I added 1 inch for M. I marked everything out and I later rolled it out. Next, I measured the total circumference of the bust, which is 40 inches divided by 4, that's 10 inches. And also at the under bust, I marked the under bust circumference divided by 4, did the same to the half length and marked the hip divided by 4. Whatever I have there, I also used it at the M. It's a straight gown like I said earlier, so, and it has no tiny shape at the knee length, so that's why I used the same measurement at the hip for the M, you can see. And after connecting all of this, I also proceed to add 1 inch for ease and 1 inch for allowance. This makes it 2 inches allowance in total. So I marked the 2 inches allowance here and I marked it all through, right from the nipple point down to the M line, and I connected everything together. Next is our armhole span. So for this style, you can make it cut together sleeve, you can make it separate. So for me, I'll do my separate. I proceed to mark the shoulder span, which is 8 inches. That is 16 divided by 2. And after marking the 8 inches, on that 8 inches, I came down with 7 inches for the armhole measurement. So I marked 7 inches and connected it back to the 8 inches. I took my tape back to the starting point, and out of the 7 inches, I marked 4.5 inch, and on that 4.5, I came in with just half of an inch. So that's how I'll connect it. Then at this angle here, I marked 1 inch. So if you have your cuff ruler, you may not need all this measurement. Just place your cuff ruler and connect. Now the armhole is ready. Next, I proceed to the neckline. So because of the collar here, I marked 2.5 inches for the width of the neckline, and for the length I used 1.5. That's for the back. You know, both back and front are still placed together, so I'll first mark the neckline of the back. And at the armhole side here, I marked 1 inch and connect it back to the neckline. That's for the shoulder slope. And later came back to this side to connect the armhole and the bodies together. So whatever I used at the nipple point, I'll add 1 inch to it. So I have 12 inch at the nipple point. I added 1 inch to it. Then I connected it this way to the armhole. So this is our gown. Next, I proceed to cut it out. And the next thing now is to mark where the inner pocket will be fixed. And to do that, I have the half length already. So the length of the half length is 18 inches. I added 1 inch to it to make 19 inches, and I notch where the 19 inches is. And after notching that part, I placed my tape on the 19 inches and marked another additional 7 inches. So this is where the pocket will end. It will start from the 19 inches and end after the hip. And I placed my tape again at the hip, which is 24.5. I placed my tape on the 24.5 and mark 39 inches because that's where the split will start from. So it depends on where you want your split to start from. Yours can be 36, 37, even 40 something. It depends. So I separated the back from the front. So this is only the front on the table, and I'll make corrections on the neckline of the front. So for this front now, I placed the tape on the shoulder and marked 3 inches at the neckline. Then after the 3 inches, I marked the additional 3 inches to make it 6 inches. So this is the 6 inches. And at the first cuff of the 3 inches, I came in with ½ inch and cuff it to the 6 inches. I came in with ½ inch this way and cuff additional 3 inches out this way. I proceed to cut it out. So this is what the shape looks like. Next, I cut the facing of the front and also cut the facing of the back as well. Just place your fabric, the remaining fabric underneath, and cut it out. So I added interface to the facing and folded 1/4 inch in. Like I do say, it's not compulsory that you fold the 1/4 inch. You can just decide to weave the hem and use your hemming gum to do the finished work. So this is the abaya rope, and I divided it into 2. I cut the middle equally, then I'll stitch it to the neckline this way. This is the part that I will stitch it on. I proceed to pin and stitch, so it's well stitched now. The facing, and I'll just stitch only this middle part. I proceed to pin and stitch, so you can see the place I stitch, and I also notch it open and flip it over and ironed it. I also added my hemming gum, so this is how to go about the hemming. Now the front is ready. The neckline of the front is ready. Now it's the back. So for the back, I will not turn it this way, but I'll just top stitch on it since there's still going to be collar on it. So I will top stitch it. Just place the facing wrong side and the wrong side of the back bodies together and top stitch on it this way. After that, you place the front bodies and the back bodies on each other and stitch the shoulders together. You can put one in between the other, that is, you can put the back in between the front, or you place the front in between the back, in between the facing and the main bodies. Just do it the way you see me do. So I've stitched both the two shoulders. I notched the edge here so that it will make it relax well. And this part too, I notch it open so as for it to relax as well. Though there are different ways to fix this neckline, but that will be a topic for another day. After this, I ironed the neckline. After the notch, I ironed the neckline and placed it back on the table. And I also added hemming gum to the back facing as well and flipped it over to fix the collar. And to do that, I placed the two neckline of the front together this way and measure it from that point to the back, to the notch part at the back. So I have 15 inches here. Just measure the neckline round. There are different types of collar. If you are using this type, you will not need any extra additional collar like the one I used. So you can see the additional collar that I'm talking about. I first of all measured 17 inches because the total neckline is 15 inches. So I will stitch 1 inch on both the right and the left side of this collar, and I've curved the edges as well. I also folded 1/4 inch on both sides of this collar. The width of this collar is 5 inches. You can use 4. 4 is still okay. And I folded 1/4 inch in. I've also added my interface. Next is just to go and stitch the 1 inch I told you about, and I pinned and also stitch. So I'm done stitching. I've trimmed out the excess and I'll proceed to fix in the neckline. Just place it in between the collar. It's very easy. Placed and pinned. And top stitch on it. You can see it is neatly done. Now the first step of the collar is ready. Next is to fix this on it. I would have loved the previous one I showed you, but I couldn't get the white color of that. That was why I bought this. So, and you just top stitch this round at the neckline, at the collar rather. So this is it after stitching. The neckline is ready. Now we move to the bodies. You stitch the allowance out, but while stitching you leave the notch part open, that is the pocket side. You can pin so as to remember the place like you see me do. Then you stitch every other measurement and leave open. And also at the hem, you remember I left allowance. I stitched another part for the split, so I did not stitch that side as well. I stopped on the split side. I stopped where I notched. So for this, you will fold it twice this way, or you can decide to add your hemming gum. Just weave and add your hemming gum. You may not need to fold it this way, but I will be folding this like this. So I folded it twice and top stitch on it. You can see the way it's done. Next is our pocket. So for this pocket, I have these little pieces and I folded it into 2 and later fold into 4 because I want to cut the 2 pockets together. So I folded into 4. I have 2 joint parts at the right side and at the down part here. So I measured the circumference I have with 8 inches and the length I used also. Actually, the width depends on your choice, depends on how wide you want your pocket to be, and even the length depends on how long you want it to be. So I first of all trimmed the remaining excess out, and after that I came down to this to the M side and I measured 2.5 inches, you can use 3 inches as well, and I curve it. Just give it a curve shape, and it even depends on you. You can make it rectangle if you don't want it curve. And after that, I open the middle and also the hem. Next, I separated the two from each other, so I have 2 pockets now. You know it was 4, so 2 on the right and 2 on the left. So these are the parts that I will stitch. So I measured ½ inch all round, and from this point I came down with 7 inches. You know, I left 7 inches allowance for the pocket, so this is where the starting point is. And I stitch it all around and left the 7 inches open. So I'll be fixing the pocket together now, starting from the notch area. I first of all proceed to pin and stitch. We are done with the pocket side. Next is the sleeve. So for this sleeve, I measured 2.5 inches first. I measured 5 inches, then I measured the elbow, which is 11 inches. I added 1 inch to it for hem, and I measured the circumference of the sleeve on it and proceed to cut. So it's a straight sleeve, so I have lots of videos on this which I will drop in the description box. I'll drop the link there. And I also reshaped the armhole of the dress and fixed the sleeve. Now the gown is ready. You can see how lovely it looks. So please like and share this video, and if you haven't subscribed, remember to do so. And if there's any style you would want me to make tutorial on, you can drop it in the comment section. Thank you and stay blessed.